This topic over there on the my far right is Peter Goodman. He's the culprit who got this, who suggested this topic. And so let's see. I'm gonna let me see. I'm gonna get Arta. Do you feel like reading that email I sent out?
Yeah, sure. I have it right here on my iPad.
Yeah.
Oh,
And Jay Seema will put it up.
okay. The topic for tonight is, what does faith in Baba mean to you? Baba has said, one of the most important qualifications for the aspirant is faith. There are three kinds of faith: faith in oneself, faith in the master, and faith in life. How much is your faith tied up in getting what you want in a particular situation? Or are you able to accept any outcome from Baba? How unconditional is your faith in Baba? Baba has said, it is faith in each other that facilitates a free give and take of love, a free sharing of work and its results. How much faith do you have in your fellow beings? Do you sometimes find that when you fall short of your ideals, that your faith in yourself is shaken or undermined? Trusting Baba that things will go the way we want, isn't this trust in him actually conditional? How often do you think, because I have Baba in my life, nothing disturbing will happen to me? And then it does. Why didn't Baba intervene? How do you deal with that? You sometimes get a glimpse that Baba's loving wisdom is behind everything that happens. You have an overarching faith that Baba is in charge and that all is for the best, and yet sometimes have doubts about everyday situations. Does your faith in life waver when you see those who behave unjustly seemingly get away with it? A child is praying for a sunny day for his championship baseball game, while at the same time a farmer nearby is praying for rain to save his dying corn crop. Whose prayers should Baba answer? Can we or should we ask Baba for things? Or should we have complete faith that Baba will provide? What have the Mandali said about this? Was there something that you prayed for fervently and didn't get, and years later you found out you were actually being protected by Baba? These profound words of Albert Einstein, written right after World War II, are worth pondering even today. He said, I think the most important question facing humanity is the universe a friendly place? This is the first and most basic question all people must answer for themselves. For if we decide that the universe is an unfriendly place, then we will use our technology, our scientific discoveries, and our natural resources to achieve safety and power by creating bigger walls to keep out the unfriendliness and bigger weapons to destroy all that which is unfriendly. And I believe that we are getting to a place where technology is powerful enough that we may completely isolate or destroy ourselves as well in the process. If we decide that the universe is neither friendly or unfriendly, and that God is essentially playing dice with the universe, then we are simply victims to the random toss of the dice, and our lives have no real purpose or meaning. But if we decide that the universe is a friendly place, then we will use our technology, our scientific discoveries, and our natural resources to create tools and models for understanding the universe. Because power and safety will come through understanding its workings and its motives. God does not play dice with the universe.
Yeah, thank you. And in one of the old awakeners, Phyllis Frederick quoted Einstein as saying, "No one knows what Meher Baba knows." I've never seen that quote elsewhere, but it was in there. And if anybody has seen it, that would be very interesting to find. But what a beautiful message. I mean, to say that, do you find the world, universe friendly, a friendly place? Not a safe place, but a friendly place, implies a relationship, of a friendship relationship. It's lovely, lovely question to ask. Just see, just a show of hands. What do you find the world or the universe a friendly place? Raise your
Yes.
hand if you do. There's someone on the fence right there. No, it's a beautiful question. Yeah. So, does anybody? The topic was, what does faith in Baba mean to you? Does anybody want to start out and say something to that? You're not going to make me go first.
Tony,
Anybody?
Tony has his hand up.
Tony, okay.
Okay, good. Two things came to me this week, and it seemed to really fit with the subject. So I just want to share them. It's where you don't really know. So faith is trusting that Baba is looking out for you, is there for you, and sometimes you don't kind of know at the time. I don't think Baba is so infinitely benevolent and infinitely giving that he doesn't call attention to every little thing. You have to be really alert to it or inquire. So two things that I became aware of this week. I was the guest for 2 weeks at the Tween Sahavas, and I told a bunch of my Baba stories, and one had to do with the Duni, and I won't tell the whole thing here, but it was one day that I was always afraid of the Duni. I'd many times been to the Duni, and I would say, Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai, you pick it. And I know he gave women that option with joining the New Life, but the men didn't have it. But I was not going to risk, someone threw in his attachment to material things and his house burned down. I was kind of wary. So I would do that year after year. And one year I'm there, this is after I'd left that group, and I'm at the Samadhi on Duni Day, and we're about to go down, and Mansari plops 7 Duni chips into my hand and walks away. And I knew immediately Baba was saying, there are 7 things I want you to throw in the Duni. Now figure out what they are and throw them in. And I did, and each one's a story, and I won't tell any of them right now. But that played out that year, sometimes within the minute I got back to New York or whatever. But the thing that struck me after telling this story so many times was I went to India with that group and bowed down to the Duni and was afraid to actually throw anything in 72, 73, 76, 77, 78, 79, and 80, 7 times. So Baba was saving up. I always wondered why 7 chips. He was saving up those 7 chips that I had kind of reneged on so that I could then throw them in after. And I'm realizing this like 40 years after. Baba's attentiveness. I don't know if that's meaningful to anyone or not. The other one that struck me is Zeke found a free talking book on audible.com James Taylor talking about his life up to the age of 21, the singer. And he gets to Fire and Rain and the story behind it once or twice. And I had tears flowing because that song had meant so much to me at the time. Because I was 18. I was so in love with some woman I had met at a Baba group. And it was the most perfect thing. And something went wrong and she wound up surprisingly marrying someone else. It lasted 6 months, but nevertheless, I was, and I was always singing that song, Fire and Rain. But I always thought that I'd see you again. And at this time, I was in a Baba group and word came to me that I was being asked to set these lyrics from the East-West Gathering to music. It was the Simple Praisers song, which is the Australian arti, O Glorious Eternal Ancient One. And Baba wants me to do this song, write this song. So I started to play, and the first thing that came out were the chords of Fire and Rain. And even that first little bit of the melody line, because that's where my heart was at the time. And I still love my version better than any I've ever heard. But what I realized just in the last few days, this was how Baba took all of that feeling and that sense of my heart being left in such a state, and constantly singing with that same energy of, say, Fire and Rain. My heart, meher, I give you to keep. Lighten this dark world and the tears I weep. This heart, meher, I give you to keep. And I always thought it was an interesting coincidence that it was Fire and Rain was the opening. But I realized Baba went right in to what would open my heart to be able to give it to him through that song. And I think this connects with faith, because these are all things that's 50 something years ago. And just now I'm seeing that loving attentiveness in that. And in both of those things. So that's all. I hope this was not
Yeah.
off, but yeah.
No, very touching, Tony. Anyone else want to weigh on the subject for anybody that's arrived a little bit late? Is what does faith in Baba or faith in God mean to you? So that's the subject. And up there in the corner is the culprit who is responsible for this topic. So Peter, Jaysima, that's right.
Yeah, it's Peter. Yeah. Peter?
Peter has disappeared.
Oh, okay. I thought someone else was gonna go. Okay, I'll go then. Faith in Baba just means to me like just different things. But like recently with my wrist injury, faith in Baba just has really meant to me a lot. And like I had surgery about just over 2 weeks ago, and I was really, really, really nervous just going into surgery. I've never really had like a surgery this big. And just with the surgery, I was questioning things. At first, it was not thinking about Baba at all. It's just like very nervous and thinking about like just different possibilities and whatnot. And I just did not trust the surgeon at all. And I kept like, even like the day of my surgery, I was asking like the nurses questions like, how, like about the surgeon. Just like how many surgeries does he do a day, and like how long has he been in practice and whatnot. And then just up to a few hours before my surgery, I started taking Baba's name like out loud and silently in the hospital. And of course, I was then put to sleep. And but the procedure was only about 45 minutes long. And then I woke up and everything was good. It was really calming, especially like right before the surgery. I definitely think, of course, the anesthesia helped. And then like a few days after, I realized that of course, Baba definitely helped me. In my personal opinion, I know he was there right with me, and I think it definitely helped. Just like taking Baba's name, the complete trust I ended up putting in Baba, the trust and faith I put in him, that he did take care of me, and he has been taking care of me through this. And I was thinking, the revelation came to me that that just about trusting Baba. Like if I can't trust the surgeon or whatnot, or don't have faith in the surgeon or someone that I don't know in any type of situations, whether it be big or small, that like if I put 100% faith in Baba and trust in Baba, that he will take care of any situation, and he will help people do their jobs and whatnot. And he's with me, and he'll help us right along as long as we believe in him and whatnot. So I felt that out of that experience, I've definitely grown. And my definitely one of my goals this year is just rely on Baba more and more, and just put more faith and trust in him, and try to like begin each day with trusting Baba more and more, and same with ending each day, just giving all my trust in Baba each day. So that's my revelation.
Yeah, good. And you're recovering here, and yeah,
I am recovering here.
yeah.
Just saw a great football game. The Chiefs won. They beat Buffalo.
Uh-huh.
That team had faith in their team. It was an overtime win. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So Baba really loved their team.
Yeah. Okay, Jessima, who we got?
Vijayji.
Jai Baba, everyone. I think I should congratulate Peter for bringing this subject of faith and trust. It's a very valid, it's a very inherent subject. Actually, I should say that entire world goes by trust and faith, like mother and child, or whatever the relationship or the friendship or the business. Faith is such a thing that without faith, if we lose our faith, even people don't know that they don't understand the importance, but it is there. A businessman runs his business, he has a partner, he has an inherent faith in his partner. The friends, the everything, the faith is such an inherent thing. So without faith, faith is an intuitional thing. It's beyond intellect actually. And without faith, this world will not exist, I personally feel, because everyone will doubt everyone. One has to keep faith in someone. Otherwise, life will become hopeless and useless if you start doubting everyone. And the things in the world go by faith only. And Baba even appreciates. There is a instance when Baba appreciated Sulu and Sudama's instance is there. And he says, Sulu has such a trust and faith in me. He has not seen my real form, but he has such a trust and faith, and he appreciates. So this trust and faith has to be developed slowly, gradually, and by conviction. And I think everyone has his own way of developing trust and faith. And of course, it's a blessing also from God that one can develop that trust and faith. So one must try to get conviction, and once that faith is there, I know since my childhood. See, I am born in our family, and I have that spontaneous trust and faith and respect, and I took Baba as God man. And when in 1969, in 1969, when Baba dropped his body, there was a kind of shock, because we know that Baba said he will break his silence and he will utter the word and something. So there was a shock. But I felt like I was crying, whatever it be, whether he is God or not. But that inner binding was there. And then later on, we knew that it is not just the body, but he's there. So once one has that conviction is developed, then that is a very important and valid component in our life, trust and faith. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, VJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Meher, we're not,
Unmute.
can't hear you.
Hey, Baba.
Yeah.
Just now I wasn't well. Twice I wasn't well. And I had a lot of faith on Baba. I said, Baba, you must make me well. You know, I'm alone here. You have to make me well and do what your duty is. And after that, he did his duty, what he had to do. And I suddenly had a lot of faith also in reading a story recently. I've read it twice on the Baba group. And I had a lot of faith reading the story, and I felt that this has to be read because it may be not, some may not like it, some may like it, but it is like winning or losing. How we can lose in a game and how we can win in a game. So I read it, and so some people did like it, some didn't. It is just the faith of Baba and mine, who whatever we can read and this thing. So I read it, and many have, I think, enjoyed it, what I've done. So I've given a lot of faith to Baba that he is doing his duty with me. That's my idea and the faith what he's given this thing. That is it. Jai
Yeah.
Baba.
Yeah, Jai Baba, Meher. Yeah. Anyone else want to weigh in on faith?
I guess Diane, Terry.
Sorry,
Oh,
the
good.
old-fashioned way. I just knew that by the time I raised it electronically, you guys might have moved on. I talked about this earlier today at Effort and Grace, but you know, I have read about people who's had great suffering, like their child was killed, and they've been able to forgive the person who did that. And they've always attributed it to their faith in God. And I could never understand it. I couldn't wrap my brain around it. I couldn't imagine what that would be like. And the past few years, as I've gotten closer and closer with a connection that is more real to me with Baba, it's still an upward climb. I talked today about trying to understand when people are suffering. Like Danny Rubenstein, that's just totally messing me up. What a servant to Baba. And he's
going to Baba.
Yeah. But the suffering aspect. It's one thing to go to Baba.
You don't know that he's suffering, she's suffering.
Right. So the conversation of suffering, we talk a lot about as a couple, just because our hearts go out so much. And trying to understand that who knows what sanskaras they have, what they're supposed to be fulfilling. We only know what we can see and feel our loss. So I feel like only to survive this and not be overcome with my own grief, I have to turn it to Baba. Thank God I have God.
Yeah. And you have the empathy for others, which is such a great gift, even if it's painful. It's a privilege. Yeah. Thanks.
Marian.
Hi. Well, this topic and the way it was written out, I could speak for a few hours, so I'll time myself and give myself 3 minutes. And what I know, different from what I believe, is no one can take from me, and that is knowing Baba, knowing God. And so it's when I am more identified with my human self, which I've taken on as a way of serving. And in that, I feel at times that I've lost my faith because I'm floundering, whether I have to deal with a lot of human practical issues with the government or with whatever I have to deal with, or daily taking care of myself. I just get overwhelmed. And then, I mean, I talk to Baba, but I don't feel Baba because I'm in an emotional state. That means my subtle body is all clogged up. So I'm grateful for having that knowledge and that training of, oh, when I'm saying Baba's name while I'm out on the street and all of my mind chatter starts pushing Baba's name away, and then I notice it, well, who's the noticer? Spirit, of course. And spirit, my spirit's one with Baba. Then I can take a breath, put my palm on a tree trunk, look at the sky, praise the birds, listen to the geese flying over, whatever. So I feel gratitude is the foundation of my life because I swing back and forth between those. And I don't see it as a lack of faith because faith, as brought out with even many of the saints' stories, like Saint Teresa d'Avila, there was one moment that she had a moment of pride while setting the table for the feast, and it separated her from Jesus. And I was reading her autobiography many years ago, pages and pages of agony. I thought, what in the hell did she do, that she was in such agony? It was that one moment that separated her from Jesus. So there is this faith is like a spectrum. And I had been pointed out to me that Baba does not grant any wants, but will grant all real needs and fulfill them. And so when I have a need for my faith to increase, then I know that is a real need. It's not a want, it's a real need. And I put that in Baba's lap. Baba, please increase my faith in you. It's very sweet. And so I'm back and forth, human and spirit. And I have to say, sometimes I really gripe and complain about this to Baba. So I'm very grateful sometimes for the lack that I feel, because it brings me closer to Baba, because I can set aside a time to complain and turn it over to Baba and let that move out of my subtle body, all of that clogging of blocks that keep me from receiving all of the blessings. So this is a sharing. I have nothing wrapped up. I have no advice. This is a sharing. And I'm just grateful to be here tonight with all of you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you, Marian. Always wonderful to hear from you.
Go ahead, Jay.
Jai Mer Baba, Avtar Mer Baba ki jai. First of all, faith should be developed only if you have total 100% dedication to one master. If you have many, your mind should be aware and you doesn't have 100% faith. For that, I'll just remind a story of Baidul's son-in-law, son Umi. When he was
Mayor Sean, just a little bit louder, please.
Yeah. First of all, Baba always used to say, you should have a rock-like faith, and you should have a rock-like faith. And further, Baba always says, once you have a rock-like faith, you'll have complete dedication to your master. And that should be only one master. You should have complete 100% faith. It reminds me a story of Baidul's son, Baidul's son or Homi. Son or son-in-law, I didn't remember, but he was one night it was one Scorpio bit Homi. Then he started saying, Meher Baba, oh Meher Baba, please save me, save me. After some time he said, oh Sai Baba, like that he started saying. Then after some time he went to Baba and said, Baba, when I called you with the full complete faith, you didn't attend to me. Why? Baba said, you should have oneness and one faith. And faith should be with only on one master. When I was about to start to save you, you have changed your mind and started Sai Baba, Sai Baba, Sai Baba. And then that's the reason I didn't. So Baba then told Omi that you should have only oneness and one this thing. And also, and I have this thing feeling that you should have a rock-like faith and fame-like love for God. That my living example is my mother. When my mother, anything difficulties come, she always goes before the Baba photo and says, Baba, you are our family God. She always used to say, you are our family God. So I have this problem. Who else I can beg and whom else I can ask? So you should solve this problem. Please, Baba, otherwise I'll be in a great trouble. And she is 100% confident. She's one thing that I am not boasting, but my mother is a very dynamic lady and she never hesitated to say anything, any difficulties to Baba. And she says, Baba, you have to. And sometimes we should not ask these things to Baba. For you, for me, Baba does everything with the faith. And sometimes, even for during Baba's birthdays and all that, when short of the funds and all that, even for the construction of Jubilee, she used to go for Baba. We have to pay the contractors' bills and all that. We don't have some money. How to pay? And she used to go before the Baba's photos and used to pray with the complete. And then I don't know how on that day somebody used to say, Chita Devi, this is the money somebody has donated. And that amount is actually what 10,000 rupees we have to pay to the contractor. It comes either 11,000 or 10,000 rupees. So if you pray from the if you have complete trust, then definitely Baba will act according to your faith. And Baba says you should have 100% faith. And if you leave everything to me, I'll take care of you. And I will. These are many instances. And especially for few doctors whom they are not so competent big doctors, but they cured only taking Baba's name. So the faith is the immense that should be, it won't come unless until you totally dedicate yourself to Baba's. I think many instances, even in the case of Mansari had skin diseases. So Baba has given the udi and take him to take it in the tea or in the water. That has developed. That has cured our skin diseases. And that's the reason the faith, you should have a rock-like faith. Then only the habit will cultivate. And as a young boy, we used to, and Adi used to tell us that you should first, the moment you get up, you should first pray, bow down to Baba, then to bow down to your mother, and start your day after bath with taking Baba's udi on your forehead, and go whenever go to Baba, I'm going to this work. See that I'll be happy. And when day is over in the night time, we should say, Baba, thanks. This day went off nicely. And don't think about tomorrow. Think of this day. That's what our experiences with Baba, and Baba has played a vital role. Baba's faith has role, and it has brought us all comfortably in our life. Avatar, whatever we are today, only by His grace and His faith helped us, our family, Nori family. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Thank you, Mayor Chand, from a family that all met Baba. Yeah. Okay.
You have Meher again.
Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I just, when Merchant was saying something, just suddenly came into my mind that Gulna's husband, when he had a accident in Pune, from the scooter coming back from the airport, the scooter flung him, and he had the faith of saying Baba's name, Baba, Baba, Baba. And Baba said, you didn't say my name, it's the faith of you who said it on your own. And Baba, on your own, you became well. So that's what this is. I just suddenly remembered this.
Yeah.
So I'd like to share it.
Thank you, Meher. Yeah.
Tinku.
Coming directly
Jai
from
Baba,
Bombay.
everyone. Yeah, sort of going back to something like what Diana and Marion both said. You know, my faith in Baba is there, but there are times when, you know, my faith oscillates. For example, right now, I'm suffering from a very bad hip, and it's really bothering me because in case I have to go in for an operation, I'm worried about my dog. He's extremely attached to me, and I know Baba has brought him to me in my care, and I always pray to Baba to help me take care of him. But I speak to Baba and I say, Baba, you brought him to me, and you make sure that, you know, I know you will somehow take care of the situation. But yet at other times, you know, I'm sort of doubtful that if I have to go in for an operation, what's going to happen to him? Who will look after him? Will he be able to stay without me? Because he's my shadow all the time. So I don't know. I mean, these doubts keep creeping up in my mind, and I want to get rid of them, but I don't know how.
Yeah. I mean, that's very touching. I mean, a beautiful love for your dog, and it's too bad. Could you make him into a service dog?
I wish I could, because right now I'm limping around.
Get one of those little things, you know, that they, you know. Or maybe your dog needs a hip operation as well. They can do it at the same time. Well, let us know when, you know, as you get closer to that time.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah.
But it's just that I know Baba's going to take care of the situation, but yet, you know, the doubts creep in from time to time.
Yeah. There's that famous line from Mark Twain. I've been through many trials and tribulations in this life, and most of them never happened. A lot of things work out better than we ever imagined. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Dinku.
Yeah.
Lanita, I think he's saying your name. It's quiet. Yeah.
Hi, guys. Jai Baba. Well, it's very hard for me, this subject, you know, because I never think about it too much. I never kind of conceptualize, you know, my faith to Baba. You know, I never put in words or try to understand with my intellect. For me, it's more like feeling. So, but there's a big but. My faith to Baba is linked to my gratefulness, to me being grateful to everything, to my shower, to my shoes, to my house, everything, to the sky, to the sun. You know, I always been grateful, and I walk on the beach and I always think about Baba and how grateful I am for I'm being able to allow me to be walking on the beach and that beautiful sky. So my faith is linked to how grateful I am. It's not every day, because sometimes I'm very grouchy, I'm pissed off with something, or somebody else forget am I grateful. I'm not grateful for anything, and I don't even remember Baba. But then, next day, I'm calm down and everything goes back to normal. And I'm grateful again. There's one thing that happened, that after my husband passed away, he passed away 6 years ago. And then 2 years, maybe 2 years after, or 3 years after that. Because when he passed away, when I had his ashes in my possession, in my apartment in Brooklyn, New York, I look at the box with his ashes, which was the most bizarre thing, I had experience, I had the box of his ashes in my living room. I look at there, I staring into the box. I was afraid that Ira was gonna jump out of the box, And I was afraid of that, I swear to God, because Ira, how he was, So I said to Ira, please don't show up to me. I don't like ghosts. I don't want to see ghosts. Please do not show up to me ever. And he never showed up to me until a couple years ago, here in Myrtle Beach. I was getting out of the house. I was going to get my car to somewhere. And then I was like walking towards the car. I was out in the open, and I felt this sense of gratitude and love, but it didn't came from me, it came from somewhere else. I started looking to the sky, looking, where does this come from, And then I walked towards the car, and when I got to the car, Ira was standing right there. He was standing there. He was there. I could not believe it. It was like, ah! and that feeling of gratitude and love was still there between me and him, and it was just like a split second. The next thing I know, he disappeared. And then I sat in the car, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move. I couldn't drive. I was crying my eyes out, and I was just wondering he came to me from this other side, who knows where he was. Maybe he wasn't anywhere. Maybe he was right here, always next to me. And he came to tell me that that's all there is love and gratitude. That's what I read. That's what I understood from his message. I don't know if it's true or not, but for me it's true. That he came to tell me that all there is love and gratitude, nothing else, just love and gratitude. Mm-hmm. So, and of course, in this love and this gratitude, there's Baba, there's God. This comes from God, this love and this gratitude, the gratitude that I feel in my heart, when I'm not grouchy and grumpy, and is God. I understand this as God inside me. God in me is Baba in me, that make me feel grateful for everything that I have, for anything, for everybody, for anything, for being here, from being there, from Jeff being in my life, from Tony. I see only him on Zoom, and from VJ, I just met him the other day. He was amazing. And, everything is like my food that I eat, this computer, every day. I think about all these little things that I have that make me comfortable in my life, make me very spoiled, because when I go to India, I know, the big difference between, and when I go to Brazil, they see the poor people are here, all these people poor and suffering and, with diseases and stuff. Well, whatever, we know that. I don't have to make that spiel for you. But, so I don't know if that make any sense for you.
Yeah, very beautiful.
My faith for Baba is here, is here with me.
Yeah. Lovely. Wow, I can't wait till Ira comes back again. And I'm sure he's already back. Hey, so I thought maybe I'll I don't know how I can share, I'm going to try to share this the kind of evolution of a particular aspect of my faith in Baba. When I got into Baba back in the 60s, one of the overriding questions I put before Baba is this: is there a loving wisdom behind everything that happens? I had to know that, not just know it intuitively. I had to know it experientially. Is there a loving wisdom behind the good, bad, and ugly that happens? And of course, in the beginning of my life with Baba, I was showered with love and love with, exchanges with everybody. But then as time went on, I became also the object of some ongoing negativity from my fellow beings that went on for decades. And, I thought, why is this happening to me? I didn't have this before. And there's this, so, there was like, I'd say I kind of accepted it. I didn't like react back, but it was like painful. And, of course, there was that resentment. And in order to cope with it, this is what I did. I divided life into, what happened to, the kind things that were done to me, that was Baba's love. And the unkind things that were happening to me, that was done by others. That's how I framed it. Baba's doing these loving things, and these unloving things are done by others. And so I would say 30 years went by, and one day I was reading the book, The Everything and the Nothing, a book by Baba, that I had read many times before, all the way back to the 60s, but Baba kind of guided me to this one passage. And in this passage, Baba says, there's somebody, am I echoing here or something? Anyway, so this is the line, the two lines. These are Baba's words, when the intensity of my faith, your faith in my will reaches its height, you say goodbye to worry forever. Then all that you suffered and enjoyed in the past, together with what you may experience in the future, will be to you the most loving and spontaneous expression of my love. And nothing will ever be able to cause you worry again. But the line there, everything you experience will be the most loving and spontaneous expression of my will. Well, that was obvious. I certainly didn't feel that. Some of the things I would feel were the loving expression of Baba's will, but there's a whole lot of my life that wasn't. And, and so that's how far off I was in assessing my life. And so then it did change my whole kind of orientation, and I started to take, all these negative things that happened to me, I had to go in and accommodate these things from within. There were betrayals, and if I told you some of this stuff, you'd be kind of shocked. But I had to inwardly go deeper and deeper and deeper in order to accommodate this stuff and kind of accept it. And eventually, I went so far in that I saw that behind it all, this negativity was actually Baba's love. I was kind of shocked. I didn't think that this negativity was his love. What it was doing, it was driving me deeper into my soul. It was also waking me up. In other words, all of the love that was lavished on me, you know, from the Mandali and my friends and everything, didn't bring me to that point where I could see that truth, that there's a loving wisdom behind all that happens. I did not get to that truth except through the negativity. I don't know if I can convey that, but the love, what I call ostensibly love, was not bringing me to that place. It was this negativity that forced me to inquire more and more deeply, and so through that, I kind of, after that, I was kind of at peace, inwardly at peace, because I really kind of felt, I saw with my own eyes that it is really all love. The good, bad, and ugly is really His love, God's love. And so, anyway, and so the work is to get that more and more experientially. But I don't have a conflict now with what happens, the same kind of conflict that I used to have. So anyway, I don't know if that makes any sense.
Jeff, it makes a lot of sense. Question though, was that like a degree of Baba's love, in your opinion, would you say, when you felt that way and when you were going through that?
I mean, it came to the conclusion that there's kind of, in a way, not so much degree, it is love. But I'm just, when I was looking at it through the lens of love, great love to unlovingness, through that continuum, you know, some of it looks like love and some of it didn't look like love. But somehow that was removed, that veil was removed, and I could see that all these good, bad, and ugly things are really love. You know what I mean? It's like putting on these glasses that kind of darken a whole lot of life and brighten a whole lot of life. But once you take the glasses off, it's all bright, really. Anyway, that's my spiel. And I can blame Peter for dragging that out of me.
Janet?
Yes, well, I'm really glad you said all that, Jeff. I hesitate to say what I'm going to say right now too, and that my coming to Baba was the experience that you were just describing that happened to you a few years after you were in Baba. A lot of negativity, a lot of difficulty, a lot of it was hard. You know, I'd grown up in a pretty nice, comfortable way. I mean, of course, everything was not perfect by any stretch, but it was comfortable, and I had a faith in Jesus and in God, a really strong faith. And then I learned about Baba, and really things went south in a hurry. And they stayed that way for more than a decade, to be honest with you. And it wasn't, I mean, I learned about Baba in 1969, and I didn't come to Myrtle Beach until like 1987, I believe. So it'd been a long time. I felt like, I mean, but I stayed with Baba the whole time in myself. I stayed connected, or I shouldn't say that. He stayed connected to me. Baba did not leave me and did not forsake me. And when I first went to Myrtle Beach, I was walking along around the center, and I heard the words, Baba is love. And that was all that time, that was the first notion I had that Baba was love, because all that earlier experience I'd had did not feel loving. It felt crushing. It was hard. I won't go into details, but I'm just going to tell you that I'm not exaggerating. And so about having faith in Baba, I love Baba, and I talk to Baba, and I stick to Baba through thick and thin. But I don't have the kind of faith that's like, at all things are going to go the way I want. I have the kind of faith that he's there, that Baba is there. He's behind the events in my life in ways I don't understand, and may never understand until after I'm on the other side, and I'm looking forward to sitting by Baba's feet and having a better understanding. But I mean, I don't resent what happened, but I can't say as though I understand it. And it just sort of came out of nowhere after I learned about Baba, and from the people I learned about Baba from. That was the cincher for me there. So there was a marriage between abuse and learning about Baba. So it's taken me, I mean, so that was 1969 that all that started, and we're now in 2022. And it's taken me many years to heal through this and really rely on Baba for love, and have faith in the knowing that Baba is love, and that Baba loves us all, and that it isn't necessarily my job to understand the events of life. So
Yeah.
that's what I have to say, and that's probably more than enough.
Yeah, no, I know it's not understanding why these things happen is one of the challenges. And are they all love or not? That was my big question before Bob. I mean, I had it before him for 3 decades. Ongoing. Okay.
Michael Childs.
Oh, hi. I first came to Baba the day after he dropped his body, or maybe in Indian time when he dropped his body. So I read The God Man, which was the only book available. The Lord Mayor hadn't been written yet. And I read the discourses, and God Speaks. And my life was full of, became, in a sense, miraculous. These serendipitous things would happen that I couldn't explain, but I just knew that I knew that I was headed to my destiny, whatever it was. And I'd signed up for the Great Darshan, and I was in the last flight over, along with 168 other people. And I was the only one with a guitar who could accompany people. And I didn't know there'd be so much entertainment and that my services would be in demand. So I was in Guru Prasad with a group of people who were rehearsing their songs. And I had to learn the chorus and the changes so they could do their presentation. And it was in the main hall, and there was a green empty chair with Baba's picture in the seat, a garland around the back of it, his sandals at the foot. And I didn't feel anything. And I was thinking, I've come 10,000 miles to know that God's everywhere. Well, hell, I didn't have to make this trip to find that out. And then, but I was very stoic. I didn't want to show this, my disappointment. And besides which, I was rehearsing with people, but inwardly, this is what I was thinking. And I thought, reveal yourself to me. I read the books. I don't want any more books. I don't want any pictures. I want you. Reveal yourself to me. And the next day was the meeting, the open meeting, and Francis Brabazon read his speech, and people spoke, and Erich got up, and he was so lovely. There he was in his white t-shirt and rolled up pants and sandals and thin mustache, and I was expecting somebody with a long beard and an orange robe saying, "I am now in charge. Please make all the checks out to me." And of course, the cynical New Yorker was very strong with me. And I was just entranced by how he spoke to us, like, "We don't know why you're here." And then all I remember after that is that the room disappeared. And I was somewhere else in front of a huge mirror. And as I looked into the mirror, I saw my true self. And I knew I was in the presence of God. And it was such a profound realization. I knew that nothing would ever take that away. I could see why Christians in the Colosseum would die with a smile on their faces. Because if they had the same experience, nothing would pale, nothing could diminish it. So I wept and I wept. So I no longer have faith in God. In other words, faith is the belief in something for which there is no evidence. But I had that evidence. It was seared into me by this one look. So then you ask yourself, I ask myself, then what is faith? And the big challenge was faith in myself, that I'd be worthy of him. And that has been my big challenge, has been myself, my temper, my lack of ethics in the very beginning of this quest. And would I be strong enough and willing to examine myself to be worthy of his love? So, but that's where the issue of faith is for me. It's in myself and also my fellow man, that we could actually pull together and create a new humanity. And Baba said he's going to do this. Well, then I don't have to have faith that it's going to happen. I can just stand back and wonder and see how it will happen. But those are my thoughts on faith. And
yeah.
I must admit, I've got to go back and do a lot of work. We have to move out of here in a few days. So there's a lot of work to be done. So I just want to share that with you.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay?
Beautiful. 1969.
1969, yes. The year that was.
Yeah, Tony.
Okay, Jai Baba. I've never told this story publicly. I've told it many times to Baba friends and non-Baba lover friends, but it really feels Baba calling for this now from me. So here goes. Thank you, Baba. In the 12 ways of realizing me, Baba lists one as faith. And he says, if you have the faith in me that Kalyan had in his master, in believing it was night, even though it was day, because his master said so, then too you will know me. And there's another story with Kalyan where the master had wrapped some wonderful fruit on his knee, but bandaged it up, and came out and said to the disciples, I have a terrible infection here. And the only thing that will cure me is if one of you is willing to come and suck the poison out of this wound. And all the others hesitated, but Kalyan jumped to the task and found, to his surprise, instead of poison, it was this very sweet fruit.
Mango, yeah.
Mango. But the main story with Kalyan was believing it was night when it was day because the master said so. And because of the story I'm about to say, I kind of adopted that as my pen name, Kalyan. But I want to jump back just a little bit. I was two things. One, when I was 9, my father died, and there was so much grieving going on that I locked down, and I locked down my feelings. And they stayed locked for about 40 years, really. Not entirely, I was functioning, but there was a big part of me that had no access to my life. And the other thing I want to say is that women have played such a major role in my life, in my spiritual life, my life with Baba, from the Irish woman who used to watch me when I was 3 years old to my relationship with my wife right now. So anyway, this is what happened. I was in at Lake Balaton in Hungary for a gathering that Don Stevens was having. The UN had sent me to Vienna for a conference, and I was able to take time off and go there. And on the last day, Don, and I'm going to just collapse so much of the story, shared some very personal that he had recently, for the first time in his whole life with Baba, had surrendered his sex life and his finances to Baba. And Baba had just stepped in and worked out everything in ways that he never could have. So conference ended, this and that happened. Went back to New York, and I sat on the edge of my bed and I had the big "Don't Worry, Be Happy" picture on the wall, I believe. Yes, it was. And I looked at Baba and I had a man to God man talk with him about my love life. And I said, and it ended, I said, you know what's in me. You know what my needs are. I push away what I want, and I can't even put it in words, but you know what I need in a relationship. And I ended by saying, you pick her, no conditions. And suddenly the phone rang, and I won't go into the specifics, but it laid the groundwork for what was to follow. A few weeks later, I had the exact same conversation with Baba, the same words, the phone rang, and it was something that led me to meeting someone. And it's around the time of my 40th birthday. And through one way or another, which I won't tell, partly just also to keep this more or less anonymous, Baba did those things that said, this is what I am giving, this is my answer to you. You've put your love life in my hands. You said, you pick her. So, and it was, in the beginning, I would say, everything I thought I would have wanted in a intimate relationship. But over the course of time, things started to get a little weird. My antenna went up that this is dangerous. What's going on here is dangerous, and I might come out of this harmed. And I would talk to Baba about it, and Baba would say, I want you to love her more. And I'm saying, shouldn't I get out of here? And I want you to love her more. I had a dream of a steamroller coming down the road about to just like flatten me. and I would drive using the Don Stevens speaking out loud to Baba. My car was my temple, and I'd drive to work, windows up, and I'd say, Baba, this happened, that happened, da, da, da. I really should, it's good, I should get out of this now. And it would be so clear, he was saying to love her more. A night came where, again, without going into specifics, this woman just touched the back of my neck. And suddenly, all of my insides, and basically, in retrospect, it was everything that had been locked up since my father died, just came pouring out, and I was sobbing, and I'd never experienced anything like it. And I felt Baba very much flowing through this. It was love that was pushing all this stuff out. Well, the relationship got worse, and it finally exploded. And I won't go into all the stuff, but the more I brought it to Baba, the more he said, keep loving her. And in fact said, talk to Mara. And I didn't believe, I thought that was a Catholic thing, like Virgin Mary. And Mara got involved. and sort of shifted the energy. But clearly it was meant to end. And yet still, and it was absolutely over. I knew it was over. And still, when I checked in with Baba, he kept saying, keep loving her more. I went to India in, that was like December. I went to India in June, and Mani was ill, and I sang a song that I'd written that had come out of this, actually, a song called Mercy, you may have heard. And she was sick in her room, and she sent Casey out with a message to me when we were leaving. Tell Tony that's what the big doctor ordered. And then she sent Casey again. I had not told no one what was going on in my personal life. Some people knew, but she sent me with a message, tell Tony everything is going to be all right. And so it's again like Baba saying, I got this. Well, it wasn't all right. But what happened is over the next 4 years, so I started to think of myself as Kalyan, because my actual life experience said, this is gone, this is dead, this is nothing. And inside, Baba is saying, love more, love even more, pour even more love into this thing that to my eyes and brain didn't even exist. So I began to think of myself in terms of Kalyan. Okay, I can do that. But what happened over the next 4 years is for the first time in my life, all this stuff had come out of me and I could see it, and I began paying attention to it and working with it and working within myself to assimilate the love that had come through, and that now was opening up to like everyone. And and in terms of the relationship, yeah, that's what made me able and ready to be the person who met my wife, Zeke, and that we would connect in a way that the most wonderful Baba relationship, not necessarily fun or easy all the time, but exactly what I had said, and you pick her, no conditions. But the idea of what Jeff was sharing, and that it can seem really cruel. It can seem so cruel. And yet, I mean, one example, and I've shared this before, and then I think I'll end with this. In the middle of this drama, of the in-between period, after relationship was over, I had heard about something in this woman's life, and I was so angry at Baba. I was so angry. I wasn't angry at the woman. I was angry at Baba because he was the one who kept me in it. And I said, fine, I know you're God, but I don't have to look at you. And I went through the house, and I had so many Baba pictures, and I took every picture off the wall and took it down. Every picture that was on a desk, I turned it over. And I went to a Baba meeting in New York that night, and Bao was the guest. And towards the end of the talk, he says, Baba loves you so much, and he forgives you. No matter what you do, he forgives you. He said, if you go all through your house and turn over all his pictures and turn your back on him and turn all his pictures down and take them off the walls, still he forgives you. So it was. That
was Bao Kalchuri?
That was Bao Kalchuri. And of course I didn't tell anyone what had just happened.
Yeah.
But yes, it was going through something that was an indescribable hell. And I am so grateful for where my life is now for having gone through that, because I would have not opened up that love. I would not have opened up that love to where it's now like a part of my experience, part of my being here, part of everything. I think I managed to tell that story without being too specific.
We know exactly who it is, but no, I'm just joking.
Well, I might be, because at some point there was the whole Baba world, I was told, had heard that I was stalking this person when I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But so some people might, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, let's see. It's getting a little on the late side, unless there's.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Like in your email, you asked this question, like when you pray for Babas for something and you don't get it, and years later you feel that's what I mean, that's the good thing happen. Yeah, it does happen several times to me. I mean, I pray for something, it doesn't happen, but years later I feel, yeah, that was the right thing that happened to me.
Good that it didn't happen.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a line from Oscar Wilde where he says, "When the gods choose to punish us, he answers our prayers." When Oscar Wilde was dying, I'm thinking of him. As he was dying, he said, "Either I've got to go, or that wallpaper's got to go." And you can imagine that some of that weird English wallpaper from the 50s we out of the shadows, directly from Santa Barbara, California.
Yeah, hi. I wanted to get back to Diane and Terry's situation that they opened this whole thing with, and I just wanted to say that having faith and trust in Baba does not mean that I don't have empathy and feelings and pain with other people. But I think then what happens in a situation that looks very tragic and is very, very painful, and I may even cry and get emotional, but then I can only go so far because I can't figure it out. But that's where Baba comes in. It's so freeing, because at that point I go, I don't understand this. It's horrible, Baba. I'm looking at this just through my little lens, but I give it to you and I know that you're taking care of it. So I just wanted to point out that it isn't that I don't have feelings and I don't feel for people and have pain through with them, but then there's a place where I can take it to Baba, and then he can take over because he sees the whole picture, and I have faith and trust that he knows the whole story. I don't.
Yeah.
I think that was an important piece I wanted to bring in, because it is hard when you hear other people's pain, and in this day and age, I mean, every phone call has somebody's story of pain. You know, a lot of people are in pain. So, and I wanted to just thank Peter for this fabulous topic. It's just like I think Janice said you could talk about this, you know, for probably 3 or 4 months. But it was. No, it wasn't. It was. It was Marion.
Marion.
Yeah, Marion said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Thank you all for thank you all for contributing to what a beautiful topic and discussion.
Yeah.
And it's so true. Like with faith and trust in Baba, it's not easy to do, but I'm just trying my best to get better at it each day, to put more faith in Baba.
Yeah.
We all
what
are,
about
Peter.
Kansas City, though? Is it? No.
They are amazing.
Hey, we got Patty.
Yeah, Patty.
Good evening, everyone. I came a little late. I was finishing up dinner. It is a really deep, all-inclusive kind of a discussion. And I'm glad Marta just said what she said, because I missed kind of the beginning, but I don't think faith, I mean, Padre said and yelled at me, I have no faith, you have no faith. And this was in '82, and I didn't really understand where faith came from. And the understanding was trying through my brain, of course, and there is no understanding through the human brain. The incomprehensive words of Mayor Baba that he is infinitely knowing, all-knowing, infinite knowledge, it's ungraspable for me. And so I had to look for faith in me in a different place than my mind. And surely it was faith that got me there to India in 1973 in Myrtle Beach, in 1971 when I hitchhiked there. So I know faith was driving this personality of Patty to connect again with the God-man. And over all my years, I vacillate with faith up until now at this latter part of this particular life, because it was inexplicable. I mean, I couldn't explain to people why I believed Baba was God. I mean, it was impossible for me. I didn't know how to translate it to the mind, how the faith was driving me. So it's only later, from this perspective, this lens now, and all these years, that I can look back and through tremendous tragedies and painful events in my life, that the lens in which was so limited at the happening of these events, further out, and hindsight, like those others have shared, that you can see it. You can see it was for your own good. I mean, it all of it is for your own good. I just listened to an old recording, and it was someone sharing that the story of the person who Baba really, this long devoted person, came to Baba and really wanted him to let him into the new life. Well, they were about, Erich was telling the story, they were trying to come, they were making the plans for the new life, and this person came to Baba and said, please, I'm done with everything. I really want to be with you. I want to be with you. I can follow you. Please let me live a spiritual life. And he begs Baba, and Baba, thinks about it. Oh, you could do it. You could do it. And Baba wants him, and probably all of you know this, wanted him to go out and drink. Now, he was a Brahmin, and so he was at the top, and he was a vegetarian, and he didn't drink, and he didn't, I think he was a bachelor, actually, and he wasn't married, so he wasn't involved in sexual affairs or anything like this. So Baba wanted him to, number one, eat meat, number two, go gamble, number three, and go prostitute and do all this. And he said, oh, Baba, you're making joke of me. You're taking me lightly. I really, really want to do all this. I can follow you. But in his mind, he thought to become spiritual and be devoted to God was to, chant Baba's name. And so eventually, Baba ignored him for a while. And then finally, Baba said to him, so, okay, and because he pleads with Baba, probably at, I don't know if it was Mandalay Hall or somewhere. And then so Baba said, okay, you go out and you chant my name, and he had a beautiful voice, and he sang bhajans. And so he said, you chant my voice, you do all this, and you beg for the alms, and he was so happy, because in his mind, this was a spiritual devotion. He could do this. This is what it looked like. So, and what turns out is eventually all the Brahmins wouldn't even talk about him, because he'd turned to eating meat and gambling and having prostitutes in his life. And so he was banned from his own family, because when Erich came around and wanted to ask about it, whatever happened to him, we don't speak his name. So that shows you how all-knowing Baba was. Baba wanted to give him, knew that he was going to do these things, and Baba wanted him to do, try. I don't know how it worked, but it hit me so heavily that he knows everything. That is the faith. That is the faith we learn. We hear these stories over and over and over, and that's where faith comes from, because somehow we've heard it in other lifetimes, probably, and now here we are again hearing it. So I do have faith, and I still question it on a day-to-day basis. And I'm glad I have a stronger faith than my mind can hardly accept. But it brings us all together, and it's fabulous. when faith is in the driving seat and Baba's got it, not us. So, Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. In that story, Erich would say, if he had said yes to drinking alcohol,
Yes.
eating meat, and being
Yeah.
with prostitutes, Baba would have taken that off of him if he had said yes.
Yes.
And it wouldn't have had to play out in his life.
Right.
But he just couldn't say yes because it violated his spiritual ideals, you know.
Right. Right. So
it's
it
amazing.
shows how ignorant, I mean, how unknowing we are, and under the guidance of a master. And I like that, I don't know who was saying it, maybe it was Mayor Chand, about having one master. When we really, really give our faith totally to one master like Baba, I mean, I don't think we could get away from Baba. You know, I mean, we're all in. And sometimes he'll give us a long tether, but we're all in 100%. We put all our chips in here, you know. So it's marvelous to have that certainty that we're in his fold. It's just, I can't imagine life without it, quite frankly. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, well, I guess we're coming down.
Yeah.
You know, there's a line from Sri Aurobindo where he says, faith is an intuition yet to be discovered through experience. I don't know if that's the exact, but faith is actually based on an intuition, a true knowing that's yet to be experienced. Anyway, so let's, I think, unless Mayor Prasad has some final quote for us, maybe we'll have a few moments of silence. Have you got something, Mayor Prasad?
Let's see. I just have this open, so maybe I'll just read this.
Yeah.
Okay. This is from Discourses, 7th edition. Good thoughts as well as evil thoughts, fearful moods as well as gloomy moods, noble and expansive feelings, as well as petty and narrow emotions, unselfish aspirations as well as selfish ambitions. All these have a tendency to spread out and influence others, even when they are not expressed in words or deeds. The world of mental life is as much a unified system as the world of gross matter. The gross world as a vehicle of spiritual life has its own indubitable importance, but the links and connections existing between different persons can by no means be fully estimated if one merely considers the tangible transactions that take place in the gross world.
Beautiful. Okay, let's have a few moments of silence. Jai Baba. Thank you all for all your contributions.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. We'll have, if there's any, before we go, we're going to get Nasreen to
Yes,
kick us out of the tavern.
sure. Ready, everybody?
Yes.
We are ready.
Avatar.
Mayor Baba.
Hey,
Avatar,
Meher
Meher
Baba
Baba
ki
ki
jai.
Jai.
Avatar,
Meher Baba ki jai.
Hey.
Thank
Avatar.
you.
Meher Baba ki jai. Jeff.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Beautiful. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. Oh,
Thank
hey,
you,
let me
Jeff. Thank
mention,
you.
I'll leave a note, but we're thinking of not having that next week, both Effort and Grace and the late night chat, because there are all these programs, the Amartithi programs.
Oh, okay.
You
Okay.
know, both the Indian Amartithi programs and the ones connected with the center here, and probably elsewhere in the country.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll take a break, and you guys can just go out to the bars and have a wild time.
All right. Or to
We're
the
gonna have-
tavern.
We're gonna have early nights with other people.
Yeah. Okay. See you guys.
Okay, Baba.